Hello everyone, I'm JD and this is Enzo. And we're going to be reading The Tale of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter, which is kind of a classic book. The Tale of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. Right here.
Mama dear, said old Mrs. Rabbit, one morning you may go into the fields or go down the lane, but don't go into Mr. Gregory's garden.
Okay. Your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor.
Now run along and don't get into Mrs. I'm going out.
Then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns.
Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down to the lane to gather blackberries.
But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden
And squeezed under the gate.
First, he ate some lettuces and some French beans, and then he ate some radishes.
And then feeling rather sick, he went to go look for some
Parsley.
parsley.
But round the end of a cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Uh-oh.
Yay! Mr. McGregor went on his hands and knees, planting out young cabbages, but he jumped and ran after Pete, waving and ranking, calling out, "Stop, thief!"
Peter was mostly dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes amongst the cabbages. Uh-oh.
And the other shoe against the potatoes.
Uh-oh.
Hey, they're rabbits. They don't need shoes.
They don't need shoes?
They're free.
Okay.
They're in the basically.
After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went faster, so that I think he might have gotten away altogether.
Like this?
If he had not, unfortunately, run into a gooseberry net and got caught by the large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. Your turn.
Peter gave himself up for lost and shed big tears. But his sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows, who flew to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. Mr. McGregor came up with a sieve which he intended to pop open upon the top of Peter. But Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him. He left his jacket, his shoes. Well, they're bunnies. They really don't need it. That's the second time I'm saying they're bunnies.
Right here. And rushed.
And rushed to the tool shed and jumped in a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not so much water in it. Well, that's what water cans are for. They're called
water cans, exactly. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hidden underneath a flower pot. Sit up. He began to turn them over carefully, looking under each. Presently, Peter sneezed. Kershoo! Mr. McGregor was after him in no time,
and tried to put on his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he was tired of running after Peter. He went back to work.
He went back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright, and he had not the least idea which way to go. Sit up, my love. Also, he was very damp with sitting in that can. He was in the watering can, so he was cold.
Cold. This is
Come on, it's your turn.
After a time, he began to
wander about,
going lippity, not very fast, and he looking all around. He found a door in a wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. He's fat.
An old mouse was running in and out over the stone door step, carrying peas.
That reminds me.
Carrying peas and beans to her family in the wood. Peter asked her the way to the gate, but she had such a large pea in her mouth that she could not answer. She only shook her head at him. Peter began to cry. Look at his tear. Then he tried
to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled.
Slowly.
Presently, he came to a pond where Mrs. McGregor filled his water cans. A white cat was staring at some gold,
goldfish. She sat
very, very still. But now and then the tip of her tail twitched as if it were alive. Peter thought it would best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats from his cousin, little Benjamin Bunny.
He was afraid of the cat. He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly, quite close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Scratch, 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 scratch. Peter scuttered underneath the bushes. But presently,
as nothing happened, he came out and climbed upon a wheelbarrow and peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor holding onions. His back was turned towards Pete, and beyond him was the gate. Do you know what he should have done?
What?
Never went across the gate.
What did his mom tell him?
Don't go across
to Mr. McGregor. Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could along a straight walk behind some black currant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the wood outside the garden. Look at Mr. McGregor running, and he's getting underneath the gate. He's not going to catch him. Here.
Oh, unless this happens.
Here.
Unless a baby comes and smacks open the door.
Well, who knows? Right here.
Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and the shoes for a scarecrow to fight in the blackbirds.
Aw, this is his jacket and his shoes. Peter never stopped running or looked behind him till he got home to the big fir tree. He was so tired. Go ahead, it's your turn.
It was so tired that he flopped down on the nice soft stand on the floor of the rabbit hole and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had learned with his clothes. It had the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost in fortnight.
I am sorry to say that Peter was not very well during the evening. His mother put him to bed and made some chamomile tea, and she gave him a dose of it to Peter. 1 tablespoon to be taken at bedtime. Oh, Peter was sick. But
Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for supper.
The end.
Enzo.
The end. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Help me. The unsubscribers are taking me down to the unsubscribe room.